now call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:08 p.m. I will take a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to remind board members and administrators to turn on your microphones and speak into the microphone when you're called upon. And I would now ask that the coordinator call the roll.
Ms. Jackson.
Present.
Mr. Rollins.
Here.
Mr. Scrivano.
Here.
Mrs. McCulloch.
Here.
Dr. Harner.
Here.
Mr. Connor.
Here.
Mrs. Powers. With 6 present, 1 absent, we have a quorum.
Go ahead, call again.
Okay.
Oh, Mrs. Powers.
Present.
With 7 present, we have a quorum.
Thank you. And before we go any further, I'd like to thank Stephen Halen, Rommel Hare, Luke McGowan, and Amonte Thomas, the media students who are here working with us to help broadcast our meeting tonight. So let's give them a round of applause. The first agenda item is a proclamation of Principals Appreciation Week, which is October 20th through the 26th, 2013, and I will read this to the audience. Whereas school principals play an important role in the education and growth of children in elementary, middle, and secondary schools in the city of Rockford, and whereas school principals are responsible for promoting education and working with parents and teachers to ensure that each child receives services that meet their needs and excel in the classroom, and whereas educational leaders face many challenges in educating our young people, and it is through their perseverance and passion that Rockford is able to continue to produce quality, career-ready students, and whereas we must continue to encourage, support, and recognize those who have a positive impact on Rockford Public Schools, now, therefore, let it be known that the Rockford Board of Education proclaims the week of October 20th through the 26th, 2013 as Principals Appreciation Week and October 25th as Principals Day to recognize principals for all that they do with our children to help them learn and succeed. And I will sign this today, October 22nd, 2013. Any principals in the audience? Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rainey. Mr. Dotson? Recognition, sir.
Good evening and thank you. Precious Waha of Auburn High School is a semifinalist for the 2014 National Achievement Scholarship Program. She is one of approximately 1,600 Black American semifinalists across the country. About 1,300 students are expected to advance to the finalist level from an original applicant pool of 160,000. The scholarship program is through the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Approximately 800 Achievement Scholarship Awards will be awarded, worth about $2.5 million total next spring. Good luck to Precious, and congratulations on making it this far in the process. Please join me in congratulating Precious and her parents. When RPS high schoolers toured the 2013 Academy Expo at the BMO Harris Bank Center, They were able to explore and navigate rows and rows of booths manned with industry experts and local business leaders from all aspects of the professional world. Students explored hands-on activities and got a better idea of what academy and pathway they may choose as they continue on in high school. The booths were evaluated and scored, and the winning displays were honored at the expo. We want to recognize them again this evening for their contribution to Rockford Public Schools. Thank you for your support, and now we will announce the winners. And if I may have the assistance of Joan Sage. Joan Sage is here this evening. Good evening, Joan. I think they're on the bottom. Okay, so representing BAMIT, who the Academy Award goes to. BAMIT stands for, that's a great question. Business, accounting, no, I think they changed that to.
Mr. Colossen's there. Okay, he's got it.
Oh, so you kept it. Business, thank you. Business, arts, marketing, and information technology.
There you go.
And the winner is Midwest Family Broadcasting.
All right.
The second award, representing EMIT, which stands for Engineering, Manufacturing, Industrial, and Trades Technology, the winner goes to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
Right.
After we announce them all, you please go out in the hallway and they'll take a photo when you're done. Okay. Representing HPS, Human and Public Services, the winner, the award goes to the Rockford Park District. And last, but yes, sir.
I'd like to say a couple words.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much for the award and so forth. Park District is very proud to receive this award for Expo. And also, like to say to the school board and the school district that you want to be very thankful this day because your students came through with more achievement, greater achievement than in the years past. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. Student participation extended beyond the Expo. Students entered an essay contest tied to the 2013 Academy Expo with the prompt, how will your experience at the Expo affect your life at high school and beyond? Again, I mentioned Joan Sage is here
Mr.
representing. Pardon me?
I think you might have skipped one award.
What did I skip?
Health sciences.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, and
And this is where I work. Okay. Okay. So no pressure.
My apologies. And last but certainly not least, representing health sciences, the winner goes to Swedish American Health System.
All right.
That's important.
It is. They did a great job. Thank you, guys.
Yes. And again, Joan is here representing Comcast. Thank you, Joan, so much for all your work with the Expo. Each of the student winners this evening will receive a netbook courtesy of Comcast. So thank you very much. Joan, would you like to say a few words?
I hope so.
Congratulations, that's the biggest thing that needs to be said. Comcast is delighted to have sponsored the Expo. The administration, all of the staff, and the students, we are going to, with this effort, Alignment Rockford, and the district. We are going to change the future of our community. So congratulations and kudos to all of you. It was our pleasure. We're excited to have Internet Essentials to help support what the kids have with the new netbooks, as well as the internet for low-income families. So thank you for the opportunity, and keep up the great work.
Okay, so the essay contest winner for Auburn, Shanita Yonvanich, Keija Haynes, and Amber Rush. Let's give them a round of applause, ladies.
Congratulations, great job. Nice job. Congratulations, great job.
Representing East, the essay winners
Congratulations. Nice job.
were Haneen Abidrabo, Davisha Wooden, and Jordan Hungate. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Representing Guilford Essay Contest winners, we have Suzanne Russo, Stephen Adams, and Brandon Hack. Congratulations.
Go East, right? Congratulations. All right. I'm married to an East High graduate. Okay.
Congratulations. And last but certainly not least, representing Jefferson is Julia Buchanan. Let's give Julia a round of applause.
Great job, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Congratulations, great job.
Nice work. Congrats.
Okay. Congratulations, good job.
Your job.
No, Guilford.
Guilford,
Next one's Jefferson.
Jefferson, right? All right, great job, thank you very much.
One thing I'm supposed to mention is the fact that the overall Academy winner is, in terms of the presentation for the booths, was the Swedish American Health System. So congratulations to Swedish American Health System. And one last but certainly not least, this wasn't part of the script, but I think it's important that we recognize that in this type of effort requires someone to really take charge and make all of this happen. And this individual has been an advocate for this community, an advocate for our school district and our students. And so I just want to recognize Lori Priest from Alignment Rockford for all of her hard work. Lori. Okay, here, I'll let you make the announcement. Okay, so there's an overall, like a golden statue.
Yeah, there is. There is the overall Academy Award, and that went to the health sciences industry, and we have a large contingent of folks from that group that are here, and we'd love to have them come up and be recognized.
Okay. All right. All right, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. Thank you. Great job, guys. It was an amazing event. Thank you, guys. Keep up the great work.
Thanks for all your help.
Thank you so much.
Thank Couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without you.
And thank you all,
Okay,
parents.
that's all right. They got enough awards.
Thank you, parents. Thank you, parents. Thank you, parents. Thank you, sir. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Dotson. We are now at the petitions and communications portion, but we have no speakers for tonight. So I will move on to board member comments. Are there any board member comments? Mrs. Powers.
Just a couple broad comments. I know we were trying to make some progress on the check register and the payroll, or the, accounts payable, and there's still several areas where it just lists supplies, and and some of the descriptions get cut off, and so while you've made progress, I'm asking for more progress. Please, when we can, identify specifically if it's office supplies versus meals or food service supplies. I guess I'd ask for a better description if you could. And then I've been out attending some different community events and school-sponsored events, and when I went out to check on websites, I found that there were several school-based websites that were not updated. And when I talked to the principals, what I heard resoundingly was that it's difficult, that it's not a very user-friendly interface to update the school-based websites. So if we could just put that on an agenda item or get an update, because I, as a community member, wanting to go to PTO meetings, wanting to go to school events, open houses, many of the school sites were not updated. And if we're going to rely on that as a communication vehicle for our community members and parents, then we've got to do a better job of making sure they're updated. So if we could work on making it easier for schools to update the websites, I'd appreciate it. And if we could add that as an agenda item or a weekly update item for a status on that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll just ask that we submit it. Anytime someone says something before, we ask that they run a written request.
Okay. So I'll ask you, Mrs. Powers, to put that in a written request to Dr. Jarrett and me, and copy me on that.
Laura.
Yeah. Any other board member comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent portion of our agenda, including the consent items of meeting minutes from October 8th, 2013, payroll, accounts payable, purchase orders, contracts under $10,000, and under other consent items, the Freedom of Information Act log. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent items? So moved. Moved by Mr. Connor. Second. Second by Dr. Harner. Are there any consent items that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Seeing none, I'll have the coordinator call the roll on the approval of the consent items.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano?
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch?
Yes.
Dr. Harner?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now at the closed session consent agenda items, including 2 staff disciplines, the HR organization report and addendum, and the closed session consent items for student discipline, in which listed students are prohibited from being on school grounds and school-sponsored activities without the prior written permission of the principal, and suspensions are affirmed. The following students are expelled for the first semester of the 2013-2014 school year: AJW 21, MAA 36, ZC 38. The following students are expelled for the remainder of the 2013-14 school year: TR 6, DDT 33, DUH 34, IUB 35, FLH 37. And the 10-day suspensions are upheld for the following students are held in abeyance contingent upon conditional probationary agreements. Those are students TT1, SC2, JW7, JJ8, CG9, AJA20, ISH22, BTW23, MZB24, And let's see, administration has pulled the following items. So I don't know that I need to read through all of these, do I? Okay. Okay, all the remaining discipline items have been pulled. The following students have been granted a conditional probationary agreement. ER3, DGC 10, MM 11, QT 12, JC 13, MA 14, TH 15, DH 16, AH 17, JG 18, DS 19, ADB 26, CD 27, JDF 28, MLW 29, JLC 31, DS 41, KD 40, MH 39, and JD 42. Is there a motion and a second to approve the closed session consent items? So moved. Moved by Mr. Connor. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Rollins. Are there any items that board members would like pulled for separate consideration? Ms. Powers.
Staff discipline, you can pull them both as one.
Okay. That's 9D and E. Are there any others? Ms. Jackson.
Student 11, you can pull A through U.
11. Is that MM 11?
11, it's student discipline, I'm sorry.
Okay.
A through U.
A through U. Okay.
Whatever has not been pulled.
I'm sorry. Say that again. So those are all the CPAs.
And then 12, A through Z.
I must not have the same numbers as you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm reading off of what's in my packet. Aren't we on call?
Okay. So is it, then it would be the expulsions under 10, item number 10. Is that what you're pulling? Just want to be clear. I must have them wrong on my sheet then. Okay.
It's 11 and 12.
11 and 12, okay. I'll go off the sheet then. Okay. I don't have the sheet, I have this one. Okay. Okay, any other items that board members would like pulled? If not, I'll have the coordinator call the roll on the items not pulled.
Mr. Rollins.
Is there anything that wasn't pulled?
The HR.
The HR org report?
No, okay. Yes.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
Mrs. McCullough.
Yes.
Dr. Harner.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers. Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, can I do the 11s all as a group, Ms. Jackson? So I will take a motion to approve items under closed session 11A through U.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Rollins. We don't have any discussion, so we call a roll. Call the roll.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
Mrs. McCullough.
Yes.
Dr. Harner.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
No.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses and 1 no.
Can I have a motion then to approve under items number, on item 12, A through something? I don't have the second page. It would be A through T? Is that correct? A through T?
It's all of the CPA.
All of the CPAs. So moved. Motion to approve the
Second.
CPA, second by Mr. Rollins. Then I'll ask the coordinator to call the roll.
Mrs. McCullough.
Yes.
Dr. Harner.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
No.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses and 1 no.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report.
Staff discipline.
Oh, staff discipline, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to approve the staff discipline?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Rollins, seconded by Mr. Connor.
Second.
I'll have the coordinator call the roll on staff discipline.
Dr. Harner.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
No.
Ms. Jackson.
No.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch.
Yes.
The motion passes with 5 yeses and 2 nos.
Okay, how can I do the superintendent? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report from Dr. Jarrett.
This evening, I would just like to take the opportunity to thank the board for giving up time on a Saturday morning to have what I hope is going to be part of what we do on a regular basis, our quarterly strategic meetings. I was really appreciative that time was given up to spend time advancing, improving processes, reviewing board priorities, and talking about long-term strategic planning. That's difficult to do in our regular meeting schedule, and it's also greatly appreciated, and I think we accomplished some very good things during that time, and I appreciate everyone's willingness to collaborate. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to committee reports, and Mrs. McCulloch, you may give the Education Committee report.
The Education Committee has not met since our last board meeting. We do have a meeting planned for November 4th. That's the first Monday in November. In this room at 5:30 on that agenda will be the report on the school report cards, an update on the bilingual program, the parent empowerment update, and an update on the homeschool situation that we spoke about at the last meeting. That ends my report.
Mr. Rollins, you can proceed with the Operations Committee report.
The Operations Committee also has not met since the last board meeting, and we will be meeting next in this room on Tuesday, November 5th, the day after the Education Committee at 5:30 p.m.
Okay. We are now at the action items portion of our agenda. The first action item tonight is the Rockford Arts Infusion Grant Acceptance that was presented by Dr. Wolf. Is there a motion and a second to approve the Rockford Arts Infusion Grant?
moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor.
Second.
Is there a second by Mr. Rollins? Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll have the coordinator call the roll on approval of the Rockford Arts Infusion Grant Acceptance.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson. Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mr. Scrivano.
Yes.
Mrs. McCulloch.
Yes.
Dr. Harner.
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses and 1 absent from the vote.
The second action item tonight is Bandwagon 2, which was presented at our last meeting by Ms. Whittegren.
That's pulled.
Yeah, that's pulled.
Oh, that's been pulled. Didn't know that. Okay,
We just need to change the timeline on the
okay. I don't have any other new business unless board members have any other business they'd like to bring up tonight. Mr. Rollins.
I don't know if this is new business or maybe a clarification. I should have asked Mrs. McCulloch when she was talking about the Education Committee. So we got these state report cards, and there were some reports about that, and we've got some good news, but I also noticed that there are some elementary schools where we don't seem to be making progress and seem to be going backwards. And as a board member, I guess that concerns me, and I'm wondering when we will have a discussion about that, about what efforts we're going to make to address those schools. And is that part of the presentation to the Education Committee in terms of talking about the state report cards? Is that something we should put on the agenda for the future? I'm just sort of asking the question.
When we built the board report schedule, there's a report that will go in writing to the board, and there will be a more detailed discussion at the Education Committee as we review that report.
Okay, thanks.
Well, to build off of Mr. Rollins' point, is it just a report, or is it, here are the findings, and therefore here's our follow-up action items? I mean, we can all read the report and know what the indications are, but I guess we're interested in what our reaction to it is. Will the report include that then?
Mr. Vosberg in terms of how we're going to address the report?
Actually, I was looking for Dan and Weisman in the crowd because Dan's overseeing that, and we haven't really talked about the specifics of the report. Obviously, anytime we have data, we look at particular schools and try to problem solve. Is there specific schools that you'd like to email me or talk about, or is this a general concern?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can look at the report, and actually, some of them were noted in the paper this morning. There are several schools where we can see where we're not making progress, and in fact, the percentage of students are actually decreasing, who meet or exceed is actually decreasing year after year. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about contracts here, and in the 2.5, almost 3 years I've been on the board, don't spend a lot of time talking about how the schools are actually doing. And so I guess I'm getting a little more interested in talking about what are the actual specific action plans for when we see a school where we can see that we're having problems. What are we going to do? Are we going to devote more resources to that school? Are we going to, you know, what are we going to do that's different?
You know, I think I can address that if I may. If you look at what we talked about at our quarterly planning meeting, the way the cycle will work is, in particular moving forward, we will identify from a macro view where the entire district is going from student achievement, and then that will flow directly into the individual school improvement planning process. And so you will receive an overview of how those schools are doing. Schools will then will be taking the data that they receive from the state and using that to first develop their school improvement plan, then develop what the content area teams or grade level teams of teachers will be doing in terms of goals. So it eventually goes from the 30,000-foot view of how the overall district is performing in terms of literacy and numeracy to the school level, to the teams of teachers, to the individual teacher level, and that progression will be something we will review as part of the annual strategic planning cycle. In terms of this upcoming report, you will be able to see how we will give detailed presentations about how each school performed. And then from there, we will be able to, at the appropriate time, talk about how that is translated into individual school improvement plans.
Okay, well, I don't want to beat this to death. I guess as we're entering the budgeting cycle as well, it just strikes me that should we as a district, at the district level, be thinking about devoting more resources or additional resources to schools that clearly need some help. So maybe that's what I was really looking for, but I'll yield to Mr. Connor.
Mr. Connor?
If it's appropriate, if we recall at Saturday's meeting, there's a new set of metrics, and from my point of view, the state tests are lagging indicators, and I was very pleased with the plan for the metrics for the superintendent, where there will be more leading indicators. It was across many grade levels. It had very specific targets for the various tests. And so the one part of the answer that I would assume would be coming from the administration is targeting those leading indicators and where we need to intervene sooner. So obviously there's school level, but there's individual level. So I'm very pleased if we go and then we make that operational. So that would be the one thing I would say, is that I would assume we will build off that new set of metrics to make sure we have more specific activities that will support them.
Any other comments or new items that board members would like to bring up for tonight? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Connor, second by Ms. Jackson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 7:42. There was a
Nice job, Ken.